Today we're going to talk about something that's eating away at the heart of our society, something that's destroying lives silently, secretly, one person at a time. It's a crisis that touches every single one of us, whether we realize it or not. I'm talking about modern loneliness, not just any loneliness, but a new kind of isolation that's more devastating than anything humanity has faced before. You see, when you're surrounded by 1,000 connections but feel completely alone, it's like being in the middle of an ocean of people drowning, while everyone around you is too busy taking selfies to notice you're going under. That feeling, that disconnect, it doesn't just hurt you in the moment. No, it creates wounds that keep bleeding, keep spreading, keep affecting everything they touch. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine standing in a crowded room, hundreds of people all around you, every single one of them staring down at their phones. You could scream at the top of your lungs and no one would even look up. That's not just a metaphor, that's becoming our reality. We're living in a world where we're more connected than ever before, yet more isolated than we've ever been. And that isolation, that disconnection, it's not just uncomfortable, it's lethal. Now, I want you to think about something for a moment. Think about the last time you felt truly connected to another human being, not through a screen, not through a text message, not through a social media post, but really, truly connected. When was the last time you looked someone in the eyes and felt seen, understood, valued? For many of you, that question brings up an uncomfortable reality. For many of you, that memory is so distant it almost feels like it belonged to another life. That feeling of being alone in a crowd, it's becoming an epidemic in our modern world. Think about it. How many of you scroll through hundreds of social media posts every day, double tapping, commenting, sharing, yet feeling emptier with each interaction? How many of you have thousands of online friends but can't name 5 people who would show up at 3 a.m. if you really needed them? This modern loneliness, it's different from anything our ancestors faced. They might have been physically isolated, but we're experiencing something far more insidious. We're emotionally isolated in a world of constant connection. We're starving for real connection while feasting on digital breadcrumbs of relationship. Let me tell you something about these digital connections we're all so proud of. They're like sugar, sweet, addictive, easy to consume, but completely empty of real nutritional value. They give us a quick hit of dopamine, a momentary feeling of connection, but leave us hungrier than before. And just like sugar, we keep coming back for more, even though we know it's not what we really need. You see, every time you choose a text message over a conversation, every time you scroll through Instagram instead of meeting a friend for coffee, every time you watch someone's story instead of being part of their story, you're not just making a simple choice, you're participating in the gradual erosion of real human connection. You're trading depth for breadth, authenticity for convenience, real relationships for digital illusions. And the cost is staggering. We're seeing an entire generation that doesn't know how to maintain eye contact during a conversation. We're watching people build entire lives around virtual connections while their real-life relationships wither and die. We're creating a world where being alone together has become the new normal. But here's what's really devastating. This isn't just affecting you, your modern loneliness, your acceptance of shallow digital connections over deep human bonds. It's teaching everyone around you that this is okay. It's showing your children that relationships happen through screens. It's telling your friends that alike is the same as love. It's convincing your community that virtual presence is a substitute for real presence. Think about the last time you were in a restaurant. Look at how many families sit together, each person lost in their own digital world. Watch how couples on dates spend more time capturing the perfect photo of their meal than talking to each other. Observe how groups of friends gather only to spend the evening showing each other what's happening on their phones. And this isn't living, this isn't connection, this is the slow death of human relationship, masked by the illusion of digital connectivity. And the worst part, we're doing it to ourselves. We're choosing it. Every day, every hour, every minute, we choose the easy path of digital interaction over the challenging but rewarding path of real human connection. I want you to understand something fundamental. Humans aren't meant to live this way. We're not designed for surface level connections with hundreds of people. We're wired for deep, meaningful relationships with a smaller circle. We're built for eye contact, for physical presence, for the kind of connection that makes you lose track of time because you're so engrossed in real conversation. Your brain, your body, your entire being craves real connection. That's why you feel so empty after spending hours on social media. That's why you feel more lonely after scrolling through hundreds of posts about other people's lives. That's why no amount of likes or comments can fill the void that's growing inside you. Let me break this down for you in a way that might shake you to your core. When you're experiencing modern loneliness, when you're caught in this cycle of shallow digital connections, you're not just hurting yourself, you're hurting everyone who could have benefited from your real presence, your authentic self, your genuine connection. Every time you choose to scroll instead of call, every time you text instead of meet, every time you post instead of participate, you're not just making a personal choice, you're contributing to a culture that's slowly killing our ability to connect on a human level. You're telling the world that digital breadcrumbs are enough, that virtual relationships are acceptable substitutes for real ones. And now I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, but I'm busy. I don't have time for real connections. Digital relationships are more convenient. Let me tell you something about convenience. It's killing us. This convenience we're so addicted to, it's like a slow-acting poison. It feels good in the moment, makes life easier in the short term, but long term, it's devastating. Think about it. When was the last time you had an unplanned conversation with a stranger? When was the last time you sat with a friend without checking your phone? When was the last time you experienced the beautiful messiness of real human interaction instead of the sanitized perfection of digital connection? We're creating a world where we know everything about everyone, but truly know no one. We know what our friends ate for breakfast, where they went on vacation, what their new car looks like, but do we know their fears, their dreams, their struggles? Do we know who they really are beneath the carefully curated online persona they present to the world? And here's what's really terrifying. This modern loneliness, it's becoming normal. We're accepting it as just another part of modern life. We're teaching the next generation that this is how relationships work, that this is what connection looks like. We're creating a legacy of loneliness that could echo through generations. But let me tell you something, it doesn't have to be this way. This isn't our destiny. This isn't the only path forward. We have a choice. We can choose to break free from this digital prison we've built around ourselves. We can choose to reconnect with what makes us human, real relationships, authentic connections, genuine community. You see, the antidote to modern loneliness isn't more connectivity. It's not better apps or faster internet or more sophisticated social media platforms. The antidote is courage. The courage to be present, the courage to be vulnerable, the courage to step away from the screen and step into real life. It takes courage to put down your phone when everyone else is looking at theirs. It takes courage to suggest a face-to-face meeting when everyone else is content with group chats. It takes courage to share your real feelings when everyone else is sharing filtered photos. But that courage is what's going to save us from this epidemic of modern loneliness. I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine a world where people look up when they walk down the street. Imagine restaurants filled with the sound of laughter and conversation instead of the silent glow of phone screens. Imagine friendships built on shared experiences rather than shared posts. Imagine relationships that thrive on presence rather than presence, on attention rather than apps. That world isn't just a fantasy. It's not just a dream. It's a possibility that's within our reach. But to grab it, we have to understand something crucial. The power to change this lies in our hands. Literally, it lies in our willingness to put down our phones, to look up, to reach out, to connect. Let me tell you something about real connection. It's messy, it's inconvenient, it's sometimes awkward and often unpredictable, but it's also magical, it's life-changing, it's what makes us human. When you truly connect with another person, when you share a moment of genuine understanding, of real empathy, of authentic emotion, that's when you feel most alive. And here's what's fascinating. Your brain knows this. Your body knows this. That's why you feel different after a real conversation compared to a text exchange. That's why a hug feels better than a heart emoji. That's why sitting with someone in silence feels more connecting than exchanging 100 messages. But I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, but what if I reach out and people don't respond? What if I try to connect and get rejected? What if I make myself vulnerable and get hurt? These are valid fears. They're real concerns. But let me tell you something. The pain of rejection is temporary. The pain of isolation, of living a life devoid of real connection, that pain is permanent. Every time you choose real connection over digital convenience, you're not just changing your life. You're creating a ripple effect. You're showing others that it's possible. You're giving permission to those around you to do the same. You're creating spaces where authentic human connection can flourish. Think about all the great moments in your life, the ones that really mattered, the ones that changed you, the ones that made you who you are. Were any of them digital? Were any of them through a screen? No, they were real. They were raw. They were face-to-face, heart-to-heart, human-to-human connections. So what can you do? How can you break free from this cycle of modern loneliness? Let me tell you something practical, something you can start doing today. Start with small moments. The next time you're standing in line for coffee, put your phone away, look around, smile at someone, say good morning. These small moments, these tiny connections, they're like seeds. Plant enough of them, and they grow into something beautiful. When you're with friends or family, make a pact. No phones during meals. Create phone-free zones in your life. Set boundaries with your digital devices. It'll feel uncomfortable at first. You'll feel the itch to check your notifications. Your fingers will twitch for that familiar scroll, but resist it. Push through that discomfort, because on the other side of that discomfort is something remarkable, real connection. And here's something crucial you need to understand. You're not alone in feeling alone. That's the great irony of modern loneliness. Millions of people are experiencing the exact same thing. They're all waiting for someone to make the first move, to bridge the gap, to break the silence. Why not let that someone be you? Why not be the one who suggests meeting in person instead of chatting online? Why not be the one who organizes face-to-face gatherings? Why not be the one who shows others that real connection is still possible, still valuable, still worth pursuing? Because here's the truth. Every time you choose real connection over digital convenience, you're not just helping yourself. You're helping create a world where human connection matters again. You're helping build a future where we don't just survive on digital breadcrumbs, but thrive on real, meaningful relationships. And the change starts with you. It starts with your choices. It starts with your courage to disconnect from the virtual world and reconnect with the real one. It starts with your willingness to feel uncomfortable, to be vulnerable, to reach out and touch someone's life in a real, meaningful way. And let me tell you something about this journey. It won't be easy. There will be moments when you'll want to retreat back into your digital comfort zone. There will be times when the easy path of shallow connections will tempt you. But remember this, anything worth having requires effort. Real connections, authentic relationships, genuine community, these things don't just happen with the tap of a screen. You see, we're standing at a crossroads right now. On one path lies the continuation of this digital isolation, this modern loneliness that's slowly consuming us. On the other path lies the possibility of real connection, of authentic relationship, of genuine human interaction. The choice, your choice, will determine not just your future, but the future of human connection itself. Think about the legacy you're creating. What are you teaching the people around you about connection? What message are you sending to the next generation about relationships? When your children or young people in your life look at you, what are they learning about human interaction? Let me share something powerful with you. Every single person in this room has the capacity to change this. Every single one of you has the power to break free from modern loneliness. You don't need special skills. You don't need expensive equipment. You don't need a master's degree in psychology. All you need is the courage to choose differently. Start today, start now. The next time your phone buzzes, ask yourself, is this connection real or just an illusion? The next time you're tempted to scroll through social media, Ask yourself, could this time be better spent in real connection with someone? The next time you're about to send a text, ask yourself, could this be a conversation instead? Because here's the ultimate truth about modern loneliness. It only has power over us if we let it. It only controls us if we choose to let it. We can break free. We can reconnect. We can rebuild the human connections that make life worth living. So I challenge you today. I challenge you to make a commitment to yourself. Commit to one real conversation every day. Commit to one phone-free meal every day. Commit to one genuine connection every day. These small commitments, these tiny changes, they add up. They create ripples. They change lives. Remember, your life is not measured in likes and shares. Your worth is not determined by followers and friends lists. Your impact is not calculated in views and clicks. Your life is measured in the lives you touch, the connections you make, the relationships you build. The time to act is now. The time to break free from modern loneliness is today. The time to choose real connection over digital illusion is this moment, because if not now, when? If not you, who? Stand up, speak out, reach out, connect. Be the change that breaks the chains of modern loneliness. Be the one who shows others that real connection is still possible, still powerful, still life-changing. Because in the end, we're not just fighting modern loneliness. We're fighting for our humanity. We're fighting for our ability to connect, to feel, to love, to live fully and authentically in a world that's trying to convince us that digital connections are enough. They're not enough. They never were. And deep down, you know this. You feel this. So what are you waiting for? The world needs your real presence, your authentic self, your genuine connection. The revolution against modern loneliness starts with you. It starts now. It starts with one real connection at a time. Are you ready to begin? Let me tell you something about revolution. It doesn't happen overnight. The revolution against modern loneliness, it happens one conversation at a time, one genuine connection at a time, one courageous step away from our screens at a time. And yes, it's going to feel strange at first. It's going to feel like you're swimming against the current. You'll walk into a room and be the only one looking up instead of down at a screen. You'll suggest meeting for coffee, and someone will ask, why not just FaceTime? You'll try to have a deep conversation and watch people reach nervously for their phones, but keep going, keep pushing forward, because every time you choose real connection, you're not just changing your life, you're changing the world around you. Think about the ripple effect of your choices. When you put your phone away during dinner, others notice. When you maintain eye contact during a conversation, people feel it. When you share something real, something vulnerable, something human, it gives others permission to do the same. You see, this modern loneliness we're experiencing, it's not just a personal problem. It's not just your struggle or my struggle. It's a collective crisis that's reshaping what it means to be human. But just as we collectively created this problem, we can collectively solve it. Each of us has the power to create spaces where real connection can flourish. Each of us has the ability to build bridges between the digital world and the real one. Each of us has the capacity to show others that there's more to life than likes, more to relationships than retweets, more to connection than clicks. The question isn't whether you can do this. The question is whether you're willing to be uncomfortable enough to try, whether you're willing to feel the anxiety of real connection, the vulnerability of authentic relationship, the messiness of genuine human interaction. Because here's the truth. The opposite of modern loneliness isn't digital connection. It's not more followers or better apps or faster internet. The opposite of modern loneliness is courage. The courage to be present, the courage to be real, the courage to reach out and touch another human life in a meaningful way. So today, I'm challenging you to find that courage. I'm challenging you to be the one who breaks the cycle. I'm challenging you to look up from your screen and see the world of possibilities around you. I'm challenging you to be the change that this digitally drowning world so desperately needs. Start small, but start now. The next time you feel the urge to post about your life, live it instead. The next time you want to text someone you care about, call them. The next time you're about to send an emoji, send your presence instead. These small choices, these tiny moments of courage, they add up. They create change, they transform lives. You see, every time you choose real connection over digital convenience, you're not just making a personal choice. You're making a statement. You're telling the world that human connection matters. You're showing others that there's another way to live, another way to relate, another way to be human in this digital age. And yes, there will be resistance. There will be people who don't understand. There will be systems that push back. But let me tell you something. The moment you decide to value real connection, to pursue authentic relationships, to break free from the chains of modern loneliness, that's the moment you start truly living. Because here's the ultimate truth. We weren't born to live through screens. We weren't created to experience life through filters. We weren't designed to satisfy our need for connection with digital substitutes. We were made for more. We were made for real conversations that last until dawn. We were made for belly laughs that can't be captured in LOLs. We were made for hugs that heal and touches that transform. The power to change this lies in your hands, literally. The power to break free from modern loneliness, to create real connection, to build authentic community, it's all within your reach. But you have to reach for it. You have to choose it. You have to fight for it. So what's it going to be? Will you continue to accept the empty calories of digital connection? Or will you feast on the rich, fulfilling meal of real human relationship? Will you keep drowning in the shallow waters of social media? Or will you dive deep into the ocean of authentic human connection? The choice is yours. The time is now. The world is waiting for someone to show them that there's more to life than likes, more to friendship than followers, more to connection than clicks. Why not let that someone be you? Because when future generations look back at this time, at this crisis of modern loneliness, let them say that this was the moment when people like you stood up. This was the moment when people like you chose differently. This was the moment when people like you led the revolution back to real human connection. The revolution starts now. It starts here. It starts with you. Are you ready to lead it?